What if there was something so terrifying, something so awful, that just by even perceiving it, you destroy yourself? It does not wish to be perceived. It does not want to be known, and it actively conceals itself. The lost remnants of its influence are all around us, imperceptible to the human eye. It is not alive in the traditional sense, not even sentient, but it hates. Today we're talking about the book, There Is No Antimemetics Division, one of the most interesting and most terrifying books that I've read in a very long time. Hi guys, Quinn here. If you appreciate my content, consider hitting the like button. It's the best way to get the YouTube algorithm to take notice of my YouTube channel. Thanks so much, guys. This video is sponsored by Zocdoc. So lately I've been in that annoying adult phase where I've been trying to be more on top of my health. But the second I think I should book an appointment, my brain goes, cool, but who and when and are they even in network? And then it turns into calling around, getting put on hold, and then suddenly I'm like, okay, whatever, I'll do this later. That's why Zocdoc is actually useful. Zocdoc is a free website that helps you find and book high quality in-network doctors. You can search from 150,000 providers across 50 states, and they've got 200 plus specialties. So whether you need primary care, dental, dermatology, eye care, whatever, you can build the care team that fits you. And one of the best parts is you can read verified patent reviews, pick the doctor you feel good about, and then see real-time availability and book instantly. There's no phone tag, there's no waiting for the office to open. In a lot of cases, appointments happen fast, usually within 24 to 72 hours, and you can sometimes even grab a same-day slot. And also, if you prefer a video visit instead of going in person, you can do that too. So if you've been putting off an appointment, be kind to yourself. Go to Zocdoc.com/QuinsIdeas and find and instantly book a top-rated in-network doctor today. There Is No Antimemetics Division is the scariest book I've read in years. It had a sense of helpless dread that continued throughout the entire novel. I was not familiar with the work of the author who goes by the name Quantum, but I'm definitely interested to check out some of his work after reading this novel. The essential premise of this book is that there exist in our reality beings which have antimemetic properties, meaning they consume information, especially information about themselves. There are also memetic beings that spread. They are essentially viral ideas. And then beings that have both properties as well. There is an organization simply referred to as the organization that deals with all sorts of entities they refer to as unknowns. Within this massive global organization, there is the Antimemetics Division, which exclusively deals with memetic and anti-memetic beings. This video will have spoilers for There Is No Antimemetics Division. Conceptually, this is one of the coolest, most mind-bending sci-fi books that I've read in a long time. So I highly recommend reading it first if you're the type of person that has your reading experience dampened by spoilers. But if you're not planning on reading it, or if you just don't care about spoilers, then continue forward. What makes this book so scary is the mystery that unfolds over the course of the chapters. And it starts with one question. How old exactly is the Antimemetics Division? You see, there is something that can be perceived when you learn enough about the world, when you encounter enough memetic beings. Once you've learned enough about memetic science, you begin to see the shape of things unseen. That thing, in some way, lives, and it does not want to be known. When you perceive it, it perceives you, and it consumes you, erases you. The Antimemetics Division may be far older than anyone realized, because anytime anyone perceives this entity, they are erased. Every competent memetics research project finds U3125's fingerprints sooner or later. It manifests all over the world, in many different forms. Many manifestations aren't even anomalous. Some of them we already have cataloged separately in the main unknown database. A very small number of them are even in containment, in possibly virulent cases. Broken logic, invisible spiders as tall as skyscrapers, people born with extra limbs that nobody can see. That's the raw data. Those manifestations are enough trouble to deal with in their own right. But once you get a little further down the road, you start to see a pattern emerging in the data. You need to have the training in memetic science, but once you have that training, and you have the data in front of you, it only takes a little extra effort to arrange those data points in conceptual space and draw a contour through them. Those data points are points on U3125's hull. Those manifestations are the shadows it casts on our reality. You link 4 or 5 different unknowns together into a single shape, and you see it, and it sees you. The moment you make eye contact, so to speak, with the entity, you're dead. Not just you, but anyone who thinks the way you do, anyone who knows too much, essentially. Distance is irrelevant. What matters is shared ideas, the same conceptual space. The entity would erase your entire research team. It would kill your mother and father. It would kill your children. When it was done, no one would even remember what U3125 was supposed to be. It would become a black hole in antimemetic science, swallowing up anyone who was careless enough to research it, leaving nothing behind. No data, no answers. U3125 can only be inferred indirectly. Any actual description of U3125, or even a meaningful hint at its nature, would itself be a containment breach. This was its defense mechanism. If left unchecked, the manifestations of it would eventually become more numerous as the years went on, eventually dominating the entire planet. The main characters of this book are 2 people named Quinn, which I obviously loved, by the way. Marie Quinn is the head of the Antimemetics Division. Her husband is Adam Quinn. He has a kind of limited natural resistance to memetic beings. Marie Quinn is investigating something that she doesn't understand. There are gaps in the division's history, anomalies. She finds the retired former head of the Antimemetics Division, Andrew Hilton, now 90 years old. He is given a drug that ages him in reverse temporarily. It would kill him afterwards, but his memories would be restored. He had agreed to this arrangement when he joined the organization. She asks him what occurred in 1976. He initially tells her that it was the year he founded the Antimemetics Division. But as he remembers, he says that the British Army had actually been developing antimemetic weaponry as early as the 1940s. Andrew and his team designed a reality bomb. One was deployed in 1951 to fight the spread of a viral memetic being that manifested all over the world as a cult. The reality bomb erased all memory of the cult, the memory of fighting the cult, and the memory of the bomb itself. Then, in 1976, Andrew's team was acquired by the organization. The organization fought countless unknowns across the world. Being acquired by the organization changed them. It showed the scale of things, the true danger of the unknowns they faced all over the world in numerous forms. And then they begin to perceive it, the entity, unknown 3125. There is an unknown that your division has never seen. The unknown that my division couldn't contain. The escapee. This is what you wanted, isn't it, Marie? Yes, she says. This is the data I'm killing you for. She leaves a gap where if she felt there was anything to apologize for, she would apologize. Hilton locked eyes with her. It came at us. We weren't prepared to be attacked directly. It was eating my division alive. It came at us so hard and so fast that the only way we could stop it was to self-destruct. If you know it exists, it knows you exist. The more you know about it, the more it knows about you. If you can see it, it can see you. And it hates to be seen. The truth is, there is an antimemetics war that has been going on for possibly thousands of years. It eats the best antimemeticist. The remnants of the war are all around us, imperceptible relics of the society we lost to U3125, hints at ancient civilizations of great technological prowess, all now lost, the cycles having been going on for who knows how long. Andrew's team had fought the entity in 1976 with another reality bomb. This erased all the knowledge they had learned up until that point, which is why it had been initially believed that the division began in 1976. But humanity was still fighting the war against it. It was just that anyone who perceived the war was actively erased. How do we contain this thing? When? We won't, Hilton tells her. We can't, ever. Don't you get it? The whole division is looped. We start the division. We run headlong into this thing. And either it eats us, or we wipe ourselves out in self-preservation. Humans have been looping through this problem over and over again since long before the 40s, maybe for centuries. It's not of reality, not of humanity. Human thought cannot coexist with it. It is from a higher, worse place, and it is descending. Of course, learning this information reawakens U3125. It consumes Marie Quinn's memory of ever even talking to Hilton. Reading this book, to my understanding, U3125 and other antimemetic beings are a metaphor for a class of systems that become lethal once they are understood too well. U3125 is not a conscious entity, even though it behaves as such. Think about large-scale economic, political, or technological systems. No single person controls them in any meaningful sense. Yet, they exert enormous pressure on human behavior. People who begin to understand how these systems actually function, how incentives align, how harm propagates, how power reproduces itself, often actually find themselves isolated, discredited, removed, burned out. The system is not sentient, but understanding it places you at odds with the narratives that allow it to keep functioning. The system protects itself by making your understanding non-transmissible. So, U3125 kills you, and all those who think like you. Look away from U3125, the horror underneath the world. Don't see it, or it will destroy you. Over the course of this novel, Marie Quinn is fighting an entity that is actively erasing her organization, erasing her life. As the book goes on, she remembers less and less. She remembers fewer people. Her organization has fewer people in it. the entity eats those around her. She can somewhat perceive the absences, but not entirely. Eventually, even she loses her life. But it turns out that the Antimemetics Division had been working on a way to fight the entity. They had been using a hermetically sealed chamber built with properties that resisted the influence of memetic beings. Outside the chamber, no one remembered what was being worked on or what had even been discussed. The idea was suggested that they could build a counter-meme, essentially a conceptual idea that only existed in conceptual space. That counter-meme could fight U3125. A man named Hicks had actually been sealed within such a chamber for 10 years working on this counter-meme, free from the influence of U3125. On the outside, U3125 has ravaged the world, changed humanity. Adam Quinn is still alive, barely beyond its influence, wandering through a changed earthly landscape with the help of a docile antimemetic being that had accompanied his wife for years. Adam Quinn is led to Hicks, and in the conceptual space of Adam's mind, the counter-meme is born. It takes the form of Marie Quinn. Inside eidetic space, she comes face to face with U3125. And the whole thing, the entirety of human eidetic space, is being torn apart. U3125 hangs above it, a monumental, blinding new presence, a singular entity more massive and luminous than both spirals combined. Its malevolent gravity drags humanity and all human ideas into its orbit, warping them beyond recognition. Beneath it, within its context, everything becomes corrupted into the worst version of itself. It takes joy and turns it into vindictive glee. It takes self-reliance and turns it into solipsistic psychosis. It turns love into smothering assault, pride into humiliation, families into traps, safety into paranoia, peace into discontent. It turns people into people who do not see people as people, and civilizations ultimately into abominations. U3125 is titanic in its structure, brain-breaking in its topology. It comes from another part of eidetic space, a place where ideas exist on a scale entirely beyond those of humans. Its wrongness and its self-consistent evil are so profound that it hurts to comprehend. Maurice sees how wrong it is, how incorrect it is. It turns to face her as if to fight, but what occurs is less a duel and more of a mathematical procession. In the presence of wild light, vast tracts of U3125, thought to meaningfully exist, prove not to. U3125 is, in the new context that wild light provides, an ancient irrelevance. Its outer layers expand, blasted apart by radiant pressure from the counter-meme, and fade into obscurity. Its core retracts and collapses. It releases its grip on everything human. The mathematics is good. It happens exactly the way that Hicks modeled it back in the bunker, using the memetic equivalent of fluid dynamics equations, taking thousands of processor years to simulate. The core contracts to a living red-green point, persists for an instant, and winks out. This all happens inside of a conceptual space. The only thing that can fight against a powerful idea is a stronger idea, and that is what occurs. At the end, humanity goes back to normal, or at least semi-normal. No one remembers what occurred. No one knows that there are now more gaps in the world, long stretches of intraversable land that people simply avoid and ignore as if they are not there. No one knows or remembers the countless people now erased. U3125 is not dead, an idea is nearly impossible to kill. I think the point is this is a war that will never end. The battle of which ideas are allowed to proliferate, which ideas maintain dominion over humanity and over our fate, over our future. And on a final note, just on a visceral level, the concept of something that erases knowledge of itself as soon as it is perceived is existentially terrifying to me. It implies that there is a nature to reality that we could never perceive, as hard as we tried. And as human beings, inherently curious creatures, we need to know. The idea that there are things that we could never know is quite disturbing. And furthermore, the thought of a concept or an idea that is, in and of itself, poisonous and inherently destructive seems like a reach at first, until you take a step back and look at the world around you. This book has a lot of interesting concepts, and again, I highly suggest you read it. Interestingly enough, some sections of this book are redacted. What I noticed is that certain parts of the physical book are redacted, but the audiobook has some words that you can still hear through a kind of censoring distortion noise. It changes throughout. But some segments in the written novel compared to the audiobook are slightly different. It's mentioned in the book that antimemetic beings affect different mediums differently. If something is recorded or written down, it may be erased to different degrees. So I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but it's an interesting little tidbit, adds a level of meta to this book. Have you guys read this book? And if so, what did you think about it? Thank you so much guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe for more science fiction literature videos.